Well, hey there, everyone. King 5 Meteorologist Adam Claibon here on this Thursday afternoon. This hockey Thursday, Kraken and Avalanche Game 2 out in Denver. Forecast looking a little cooler than what it was back on Tuesday for them as they were in the 70s back then. 70s have been nowhere near in sight here for a long time across western Washington, and still not in the forecast, but at least it looks like we do have some 60s. We'll go over that plus some more rain that is expected here as we get over the next day or so. First, let's talk about what's happening out in Denver. As you can see, skies are actually partly sunny. You have some of that sunshine beaming down on the arena there. Looks like it's going to be an exciting matchup. Hopefully the Kraken can get that game to win and come back home to Climate Pledge Arena for that first playoff game there for the hockey team. Now, we expect that conditions by the time we head into the weekend will still be kind of chilly. We're expecting highs only in the mid-50s in a lot of spots, including up in Mount Vernon, where the Skagit Valley Tulip Festival is still expected to be kind of a dreary and kind of a gloomy few days. Now, we could see some sun breaks in between some of those periods of sunshine. Not too breezy, definitely not as chilly and breezy as today, but we are going to eventually see even more of a warm-up to come later on next week. First, your SchoolNet side right here in Olympia, you can see the skies, they're cloudy. Rain is falling there, generally pretty steady, but also fairly light too. Westport, big story there, the rain here later this afternoon that we're still going to keep around on into the night. Mount Rainier, we're seeing some areas of snow beginning to pick up again, and we could see some light accumulations with that here as we head into the evening and for tonight. Everett, a few rain droplets showing up on the camera lens, but otherwise pretty light rain falling for us here this Thursday afternoon. Plus, you can see SeaTac Airport, it's been pretty soggy throughout a good portion of the day as the rain has now started to pick up here throughout the earlier and the middle part of the afternoon. Now, we have come a far away from where we were earlier this morning as far as temperatures because a lot of those numbers were pretty close to the freezing point, if not below, especially those spots across Thurston and Mason County. Let me circle exactly where I'm talking about right here. Shelton and Olympia both dipping down to 28 degrees this morning for those overnight lows. We look to be on the up and up with those temperatures here over the next few nights. But as far as our numbers right now, we went from the upper 20s now to the lower 40s. Shelton and Olympia, 42 and 43 there. Still a lot of 40s showing up on the map, and yeah, that's well below where we should be for this time of the year. So you can see some areas of light rain just north of Denver, heading into the northeastern part of the state and more into Wyoming and heading over into Nebraska. So that's going to miss them if you have any friends or maybe some family over there heading to that Kraken and Avalanche game. But for us here into western Washington, we got a system moving in with that steady rain. This is more of a light rain producer, but it's going to be enough and around for a good amount of time that will start to pile up some of the amounts with this. So zooming in over the Olympic Peninsula, that's where we have the steadiest rain, especially across some parts of southwest interior. For Wishka, Aberdeen, getting closer to Elma. Some spots that have been hit with some heavier rain here earlier into the week, getting hit again here this Thursday afternoon. Plus, you can see right here, there's some steady rain showing up around the Kitsap Peninsula, south and central sound as well. But I wanted to point out again, just like some of the past couple of days, the extremely high tip-top foothill areas are right there. And over the Kitsap Peninsula, maybe a little snow trying to mix in with the air mass still pretty chilly. We're talking about generally above maybe 2,000 feet if that is going to be the case though. And then you go farther north across the state here, Bellingham, more into parts of Skagit County too. Some lighter rains where we do have some of those showers starting to pick up again while we're seeing a rain shadow right here into parts of Port Angeles and getting closer to areas such as Sequim and over towards Discovery Bay. Now winds could be a little strong. We'll expect them to be breezy around Puget Sound, but the coast and northern interior is where we could see some of those gusts up to about 50 miles per hour here where those wind advisories are until 11 p.m. for tonight. Future radar shows the rain continuing to work its way through. Here we are at 6 o'clock this evening. We still have a lot of the steady rain in place. That band eventually heads east by about 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock tonight, and we'll start to switch to off and on rain showers. Maybe a bit of convergence coming together as we head deeper on into the night around Snohomish County, maybe a little north of Everett as we go past midnight into your early Friday. Now that's going to continue on into early Friday morning where we'll keep those off and on shower chances, but I I think we'll get more sun breaks on the way for Friday as we end off the work week. Maybe some slightly higher chances of rain coming in by the latter part of the day and heading into Friday night. Here we are at 9 o'clock, and you can see that next wave of rain beginning to come in, and that will continue on into Saturday, where eventually that begins to taper off by the afternoon and into the evening, and we'll see chances again pick up by the time we head into Saturday night and into Sunday. So the active period is still going to be around for us, and because of that, we're going to see anywhere between a half an inch to maybe 3/4 of an inch of rain around Puget Sound. Areas closer to the coast as well, seeing some of the same amounts, maybe a little less up there around Bellingham, but I think a third of an inch to a half an inch, something that is probably going to be more common up into those parts. And as far as the additional snows yet to come, we've been seeing this pretty consistent with the model runs here for the past few days, around maybe 3 to 6 inches, closer to a half a foot in a lot of spots. Nothing that's going to be too disruptive, but of course, if you do encounter some of that, especially during the nighttime hours, keep an eye out for some slushy spots. Today's highs mid to upper 40s. Maybe we flirt with the 50-degree mark around Arlington. Kind of breezy though, especially the farther north you go. We'll see temperatures in the upper 40s to low 50s. Farther to the south here around Seattle, Bellevue at 48, Monroe hitting 52 degrees. Farther south of that, a lot of mid 40s here. We had the colder air in place earlier this morning, so we kind of locked that in. So not going to warm up a whole lot here throughout the day. Lows tonight, we're back down into the 30s in a few spots. Not quite as cold, but we are seeing that upward trend in the temperatures. And as far as those overnight lows, we'll get a lot more 40s to come as we go throughout the next few days. Plus the highs, they really begin to rebound by next Monday and definitely by next Tuesday and Wednesday as we get up into the lower to mid 60s, possibly the upper 60s by next Wednesday with mostly sunny skies ahead. But yeah, it's looking like it is going to be a little bit of a wet evening here if you're going to be out and about later on into the nighttime hours. If you're trying to get out somewhere to watch that Kraken and Avalanche game, of course, we hope they get that win. But of course, if you're going to be out early tomorrow morning, just have the rain gear nearby because we'll need it here still for the next few days and still keep things pretty chilly too with the forecast calling for more than mid 50s for those highs. All right, everyone, take care. We hope that you have a tremendous Thursday, and we'll talk to you soon.